Hi guys, welcome back to the lecture. In this lecture, we want to do a little bit of code refactoring because we have some duplicated code. So if you can see under this lockout button tab function, we have on line 26 this if let sin delegate. Alright, we also do have the same line in the loading view controller right here, and that's because this is where we copied from. So if there are more than the same functionality that's happening in two places of the code and it's duplicated, it's not good, right? So we need to follow some good programming principles such as dry, do not repeat yourself. So what I'm gonna do in this lecture is just to clean up the code a little bit so that it's again easy for us to develop in future. All right, always remember that. Okay, so the first thing I want to do is to create a folder under the travel folder right here. I'm going to right click and select new group, and I'm going to call this manager. All right, and let's create a file within this folder. Let's click on new file and let's select a Swift file, and I'm going to name this as presenter manager. All right. So let's import UI kit because we'll be touching some view stuff over here, and let's create a class over here and let's call this presenter manager. Alright, so we don't need a superclass, so we can remove this, and let's also make this a singleton, so because we only want this to be instantiated only once. So let's do static let chat equals to presenter manager. Okay, and let's open and close this parenthesis over here, and also let's not forget to do a private init. Okay, and let's do it this way so that it cannot be initialized from other places. Okay, so what we want to do is to also create an enum over here, and let's call this VC, and this will be and this case we will put in main, and we will put in onboarding. All right, okay, not main, this is main tab bar controller. All right, okay, let's do it this way, and also let's have the function called show, and within show we will pass in the VC. So what this allows us to do is to actually show the main tab bar controller or the onboarding controller using the presenter manager, and all they have to do is to select from this enum that we have created. Alright, so let's come over to the settings view controller and let's just copy this as reference. Alright, let's just copy this and let's come back to the presenter manager. Alright, I'm going to just Command S to save it just in case, and I'm going to paste this just to take this as a reference. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a switch statement, and I'm going to switch this VC over here, and the two cases that we have would be dot main tab bar controller as well as case dot onboarding. Alright, so over here, this piece of reference code is actually to show the onboarding view controller. So what I can do is that I can create a view controller over here, view controller of type UI view controller. Okay, and what I can do is that, every time I run this show function, I can say that, hey, this view controller will be this. Okay, and if I'm to show, if I want to show the main tab bar controller, I'll say that this view controller will be, let's go to the loading view controller. Okay, we want this part over here. Okay, this is to show the main tab bar controller. Let's go back, and I'm just going to paste this right in here. Alright, so just notice that this references the main tab bar controller's storyboard ID, and this references the onboarding view controller storyboard ID. Okay, and underneath here I'm going to create this. I'm just going to paste this over here. Okay, and I'm going to uncomment this, and we're going to get a little problem over here. Okay, we don't need this anymore, and the problem is that we have no reference to the view over here. So what can we do? All right, so one solution is actually to use a UI application .shed .connected scenes .first, oops, not first index .first as, sorry, dot, we still need a dot, another dot, as the scene delegate. Alright, so what we can do is that we can just copy this and just replace it over here. Okay, I believe this will work. Okay, and so this Windows.root view controller, we no longer want it to be a onboarding view controller. We can just set this as the view controller so that this is going to be very dynamic, and we only need to write this once instead of having it, below here or below here. All right. So let me just clean this up a little bit and let's quickly test this. Okay, so let's come over here to the loading view controller. So you see over here, if user is logged in, we're going to perform this bunch of code, right? So let me just comment this out, and instead I'm going to use the presenter manager that we have just created. Presenter manager, we need to do a dot shed, and then we need to do show. All right, so now what happens is that I just have to hit the dot, and I'm going to select the main tab bar controller. All right, so let me just quickly run this to see if this is working, and let's click the play button. All right, it is working as intended. We are on the tab bar controller, so it means that this piece of code is working fine. Let's just remove this over here. So you notice that we have reduced 1 2 3 4 5 6 lines over here, and now it's just one line, so it's going to be a lot easier to read, and we are no longer having any more duplicated code. Let's go over to the settings view controller and let's do the same as well. Again, we no longer need this bunch of code anymore because we have abstracted it into that logic within presenter manager. So I'm just going to delete this, confidently delete this, and I'm going to do presenter manager.shed.show. And this time, what am I going to do? I'm going to set it to onboarding. All right, so we can use this principle. Again, if we have other view controllers that we want to show, we can just add this over here, and we can also set all this storyboard identifiers over here as well. Okay, so let's also run this to ensure that we can bring it back to the onboarding view controller. So let the simulator run. Let's go to item 2 and let's click the lockout button, and yep, we are in the onboarding view controller. So guys, this is all I have for you in this lecture. I hope you benefited from this, and I'll see you in the next one.